Yeah, and then they lose attraction to them girls because they're not confident all of a sudden.
No, not at all.
Yes, Michael. Why are you're denying reality right now?
No,
You're being delusional.
Ask everyone to rate their looks on a scale of 1 to 10. And we're going to start with you. Go ahead.
Why are we starting with me?
We've been starting over
Let's
there.
not.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna just say that if we're gonna
Actually, why don't you start?
No, we have the girls go first, then we'll give ours.
okay,
Ladies first.
I mean, I don't really like to gauge myself on a 1 to 10 basis. I think that
Your physical appearance.
Yeah,
we're talking physical appearance.
Again, I'm talking physical appearance. I feel like my look could be a 10 to a lot of different people, but my look could also
generally
be
speaking.
generally speaking, like that's right.
Okay, before we even wait to see what she's going to say, he's asking her what she thinks. She rates herself out of 10. So her going, well, other people might think this and other people might think this. No, he's asking you what you think, and that's it. Stop beating around the bush.
What's the
like,
first
okay, how
number
about
that
in
comes to
society?
mind?
An 8
No,
to
hold
a
on.
10 is
Let's-
my general gauge
but-
that I will give myself. I think I'm
Yes.
anywhere from an 8 to a 10. I think when I get myself all dolled up, I'm a fucking 10. I know I'm a 10,
Okay, then just
regardless
say
of what it is. But I also think that I could look like a 10 and somebody out there could be like, damn, she get 3. Yeah,
Who gives a
probably.
fuck?
But
if they
okay, forget about what other people would rate you. What is your self-assessment?
My self-assessment would be a 10.
Yes,
That
it
would
is,
be my
girl.
self-assessment.
Fuck yeah,
I think I'm a
absolutely.
very
I
pretty
will
girl.
not be giving one.
Why do girls give themselves 10s all the time? I haven't even seen this clip beyond the first 10, and I'm willing to bet they're all going to give each other 10s.
What's wrong with giving yourself a 10?
You think you're perfect? You think there's nothing you can improve? You give yourself a 10.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
asking you honestly what you honestly think of yourself. You think you're perfect.
No, but if he's asking physically,
Yeah, physically you think you're perfect.
so she's not allowed to feel like she's a 10.
It's delusional. If someone walked up to me and asked me honestly, Michael, what would you give yourself out of 10? Now, I understand the numbers thing is silly in itself. But if you were to ask me honestly, looks-wise, what would you give yourself 10? I would say that I hover around like a 4 to 5. I don't think that I'm above average looking. That's not because I've got low self-confidence or anything. It's just I'm just being realistic. If you were to look at people on a scale, like her, for example, is very clearly not physically a 10. And it's okay to say that.
In your opinion, though.
In my opinion, but if she was being 100% honest with herself, she already has things that she can work on. I'm not saying that she's a big girl, but doesn't look like she's in the best condition that she could be in. So even then, you could shave a point off of that itself.
Okay.
I'd shave a point off the fact that I'm under 6 foot, right? I would say guys over 6 foot, like I would deem that as something that's more point worthy. I'm not the most muscular guy. I don't know, you look at someone like, I don't know, Roman Reigns, for example, or Jason Momoa. If I turned around and said that I'm a 10, then I'm saying that I'm on par with these guys who we all consider to have like very good symmetry in their face. They're very tall. They've got their bodies are quite big, for a guy that's a turn on for women. It would be disingenuous for me to sit here and call myself a 10. And I don't know why women struggle to do that.
Okay, so let's break this down, right? Do you think that a 10 exists?
No, I don't. Because 10 is perfect. I think there's high 9s. I think you look at something and be like, holy shit, like that is a high 9. But 10, I don't know. Like maybe you could say 10. Maybe there's like very, very specific, like very rare people out there where you can look at them and think, holy shit, they are like insanely gorgeous, male or female. But generally speaking, most people are not 10s.
Okay. So doesn't this boil down then to the whole factor of, in your opinion? And that's her opinion. So for example, you're saying, well, the body, this, that and the other, but that might be the body that you define as a 10 or the body that you prefer. That might not necessarily be the body she prefers. So for example, you know who Mike Thurston is?
Yeah.
A lot of people will look at his body and him and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. I personally look at his body and I don't like it. But I know people that are like, this is the dream body, this is what I want. And that's just a balance of, maybe majority of people might lean towards his body is great, but then there is still people who disagree with that.
But that's
it's all down to the personal preference. So maybe she prefers bodies that are like hers.
But that's not a self-assessment. I'm saying I can look at someone and think that person, to me, like very rarely might be like a very high 9 stroking 10. But for you to look at yourself and be like, I'm a 10, you think you're perfect. I find that weird. And I only seem to see that coming from women. I don't really see guys doing that. I've never heard of a guy in any of these situations say, yeah, I'm a 10. Like,
okay. I don't find it weird. Now, a lot of women, as we've established, have a lot of insecurity. So a lot of women probably won't think that they're a 10 anyway.
So they're lying.
But so I think there is an element of lying coming from this. However, I think that it's good and important for women to have that confidence and big themselves up that they are good enough to be a 10. Who are you to say she can't be a 10?
That's not confidence that you're lying. There's a difference between genuinely believing it and lying. If you're insecure, then you're putting a front on that you don't believe yourself. What I would champion more and what I would encourage women to do more is be honest with yourself. It's okay to not be a 10. You don't even have to be a 7. You're still going to be attractive at a 6. Like, it's okay to look at yourself and be like, okay, well, there's things I can work on here, things I can work on here. And maybe you only identify the things that you can actually change about yourself and you look at those. But to call yourself a 10 is to say, I am perfection. I am the perfect image of myself. There is nothing about myself that I would change. That's not true for anybody on the planet. Even Mike Thurston. If you asked him, I guarantee the reason he's probably still hitting gym hard is because he probably doesn't feel like he's a 10. He doesn't feel like his body is in the peak physical condition it could be in. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm willing to bet as this video progresses, they're all just going to say 10. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Like, you even see it like when we watch Fresh and Fit or you watch Just Pearly Things or any of these podcasts. Yeah, okay, I can admit that a lot of the guests on here are low-hanging fruit. So there's that as well. Maybe if you got women on here that weren't so insecure and could speak honestly, then I'm willing to bet they'd probably say, yeah, I'm probably not a 10. Which is fine. It's okay to not be a 10. Most of us will never be 10s. Most people throughout human history are not 10s. It's okay to be a 7 or an 8. That's still better than most people. If we're using the numbers chart. The numbers chart in itself is a bit of a silly thing. But if we are to use it, you think you're an A star. You think you're an A star. Come on. Let's just be honest about it, right? It's not putting women down. I'm not putting men down either. I think most guys that I ask, if I ask them, what do you rate yourself out of 10 just on physical looks? They're not going to say 10. And if you ask them to go further and rate your personality and all that stuff, I guarantee you they're going to say, yeah, probably not.
What if she does think she's perfect?
She doesn't. She's like, no one thinks they're perfect. Oh, you're delusional if you think you're perfect.
But it's your opinion. It's
your you can have a delusional opinion.
It doesn't have to be delusional. Just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that it's not true.
Perfection.
In her mind.
Perfection.
Everyone's got different ideas of perfection.
No, ideas got a set perfection. Perfect has a set definition. Perfect is flawless, and that is it.
And in her mind, maybe she's flawless.
Listen, if you think you're flawless,
you can't argue against this, because whatever you say about her that you think is not flawless is your opinion. It's your opinion, and her opinion might be perfection.
You think she's being honest? Do you genuinely think you'd walk up to a woman and she says, yeah, I'm a 10, regardless of what she looks like?
Some women, yeah. Some women.
What, are being honest?
Some women, yeah. Some women are actually really, really good looking, and they will say that they're a 10.
But a 10 means the woman is saying, I am perfect.
Yeah. Maybe that's how they feel.
They don't feel that. It's okay. Like, I think they're saying that because they think that, what I am is good enough.
Yeah, I think that is the concept behind it, though.
Maybe you are good enough, but that doesn't mean you're perfect. Good enough does not mean perfect. Good enough means I have problems, I have faults, but there is enough about me that someone is going to find acceptable, and that's fine. There's enough about me that women find acceptable. That's why I don't have trouble dating. But there is enough about me that are drawbacks. I'm confident enough in myself to identify our drawbacks. I'm not in peak physical condition. I'm not the epitome of what, like, of an Adonis body or what a man should look like. It's okay to admit that. Yeah, a confident person will admit that. Insecure people will say they're 10s.
I respect, because honestly, I okay, I told you before that I grew up as a fat kid, right? I've always been the fat girl. I've always had to deal with that, and I've had plenty of self-esteem issues. There are some days where I feel really good about my appearance, and there are some days where I feel bad. It's the same thing, but I will not limit myself to a 1 to 10 scale because I know that I have more to offer than my appearance.
So why don't you just say 10?
Because it's
I don't
insulting.
because I don't want to give myself
That's fine. Like I'm on board with that. People can definitely have more to offer than their appearance, but he's asking you a direct question. He's not saying your appearance is all you can offer. He's just asking you on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself physically? I don't think my looks are all that I have to offer a woman. If anything, it's the last thing I have to offer a woman. It's everything else that comes with it. But if someone asks me directly, if I'm being 100% honest with myself, I'm going to give myself about a 4 to 5. That doesn't mean that I'm a 4 to 5 overall. I have other things that I can offer women. So there's nothing wrong with saying, I mean, if you don't want to answer, I understand. The question in itself is it's a little bit juvenile.
It's a low blow, I think.
I don't think it's a low blow. It's just
I
that
think
using
it
a
is.
scale 1 to 10 based on looks, there's so many variables that you could talk about that. It's a very like baseline way of talking about it. So if you want to reject the question on that notion, then fine. But when they say 10, they're leaning into the stupid question because they're saying, yeah, I'm perfection, which is even more dumb than the question itself.
because I think limiting myself to a number is so
How is a 10
disrespectful.
limiting yourself?
Because
Because
I
it's
might
on
have
the
more to
scale.
offer. I
A
don't
10
think,
out of 10 means 100%. There's no.
but I don't like playing into that narrative of rating on a number, and so I won't be giving myself
I
one.
agree.
It's
I'm
kind of
gonna be
different when you grow
honest.
up with like body
Okay,
image issues.
we're
Yeah,
gonna.
that's
Okay,
absolutely.
you're omitting. That's okay. Go ahead.
I concur. I grew up being an ugly duckling, and
Okay, just are you omitting or do you want to rate
you know what?
yourself?
I do omit. It's fine.
You don't want to rate yourself?
No, if I did, I would be a 10, but I just don't really like the whole concept.
Why? Why not?
Because literally, you.
It's so subjective, and
Here's the
it's
thing.
also like
It
so-
boils down what we. So here's a great example. When I was in 7th grade, we found a.
It's
They're
not
not-
subjective.
yeah.
He's asking you what you think of yourself. Do you think you are perfect or do you think there is room for improvement? He's not asking what society thinks of you. Yeah, I could think you're a 10 and Sabi could think you're a 5. That is true. He's asking you, do you think that you're a 10?
Yeah.
Is there room for improvement? Is there something about my skincare routine that is messing me up? Is there something about my gym routine where I'm not getting the best results? Could I do my hair a little bit better? Like, yeah, the question again, there's too many variables when it comes to looks. But if you're just doing a quick self-assessment of yourself, you look at yourself and be like, okay, well, I don't like this about myself. I don't like that, which is fine to say. Doesn't mean that you're an insecure person to say there's things about myself that are not particularly favorable in society. That's fine. You say, I don't want to limit myself to this, but if I was to say I am perfect.
I think they're not actually understanding the question though, because he's solely going off of looks, but they keep on bringing into the factors of I've got more to offer. But that part of it is all irrelevant because that's not what he's asking. He's just asking physically, what do you rate yourself?
Yeah.
And they keep spiraling out onto different things.
I'm sure all these girls probably do have more to offer. You have to have more to offer than your looks, or nobody's going to stick around. You're just going to become, a cheap date basically. So I don't doubt that they have more to offer. That I hope they do. But that's not what he's asking you. He's asking you a very simple question.
We found a list of the boys 1 through 10 where we were all rated. That has stuck with me my whole life. So I don't really like the feeling. It gives me the literal ick feeling from when I was sad and alone when I was 12. So sorry, no.
Relate.
Would you like to rate yourself?
12. But if I had to pick on this atrocious scale, I'd be a 10. An 8 on a bad day.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Would you like to rate yourself?
Absolutely not. I think it's an objectifying question, and I refuse to answer that. I think it's silly.
It's
I would never ask a man that. And I would
Never.
also never put a man on that scale.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys do it subconsciously, though.
No.
Absolutely
Actually,
not.
totally not.
I do.
Bruh.
I do.
Yeah, like, what are we talking about? Like,
Wait, no.
the way you go after a guy is based off his attractiveness.
Of course women do it. I've seen, we did have a rating system in school. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we did have a rating system. We didn't have 1 to 10. I can't disclose the names that we used on camera just because that's confidential. But the girls had it as well. I saw it. I saw that. In school, they put me right at the bottom. It's okay. Like, it's all right to be on this. It's all right to be put on a scale. It's all right if people do objectify. They make out like men are the only ones that do the objectifying. Women objectify men all the time. It's okay. It's fine if you put someone on a scale. It's your own tier list. Whatever. It doesn't matter. If someone asks you a question, just be honest. There's things about ourselves we don't like. There's things we can work on. There's things that we can't. And that's just the way it is. For a girl to be an 8, that's great. Just on looks alone, that's amazing. But you're not a 10. None of the girls on that panel were a 10. Neither of those guys were a 10. If they were all being honest with each other, none of them were 10s. There's no way anyone thinks that they're literal perfection physically. Everyone's got some sort of insecurity about their body. Everyone's got something they want to work on. It's okay to admit that. Maybe you're a 10 personality. I can accept that. Maybe you're a 10 personality-wise. Maybe you've gone through life and you've experienced so many things and you have very nuanced ideas. You know how to treat a partner. You do everything right. Maybe you're as close to a 10, a 9.9 of a personality. I can accept that because that comes through experience and whatnot. But just like looking at yourself in the mirror and saying I'm a 10, like that seems a bit bizarre to me. But I don't know.
You're saying this girl, for example, that you've seen on Instagram, she's as close to a 10 as you think it could get or whatever.
Yeah.
In your opinion.
Yeah.
Now, if she was to think the same way about herself that you do, how can she then be delusional if you're the one who's already saying she's as close to that anyway?
I'd say that if she said I'd say I'm pretty close to it, and then she pointed out the things that I think are very high tier. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there's going to be men and women out there who are cut above the rest. They have perfectly symmetrical faces, everything's on point. They have the perfect Adonis body or whatever. Or as close to perfect as a sculpture would make it. I'm not saying those people don't exist, but you see a lot of these videos, a lot of them, and all of them say, I'm a 10, I'm a 10. That just screams insecurity to me. It just means that you know you're not, but you can't admit it on camera because you feel like people are going to amplify your flaws.
Okay, but in the same breath, if they were all there going, oh, I'm a 5, I'm a 5, men are still going to scream, oh, she's insecure. I want a girl who's confident.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You really think that?
Yes.
You think that they're going to scream that she's what did you say? Not confident.
Insecure, yeah.
Over
and not
delusional.
confident. She's not rating herself high. Like as we discussed earlier, people like people with a bit of confidence. These girls are demonstrating confidence, but all of a sudden they're delusional just because they think they're a 10. But if they called themselves a 3 or a 2 or a 5, you're just going to think they're insecure.
No, I think the girl that says that she's a 10 is insecure. The girl that sits on camera and admits that I'm not a 10 is the one that is secure.
I think men would just react different.
No, I'm sorry, but you have a spine. If you can sit on camera and be honest with yourself and be like, I'm not a 10.
Yeah, and then they lose attraction to them girls because they're not confident all of a sudden.
No, not at all.
Yes, Michael. Why are you're denying reality right now?
No,
you're being delusional.
I'm not being delusional. I'm in a group.
You are.
I'm in several group chats with loads of men, and they all say the same thing.
Men
There's
just
nothing more
choose.
of a put off than a delusional person.
Yeah, and there's nothing more than a put off of someone who's not confident.
That is for women. A girl that's not confident.
Men feel like that towards women. Women who are not confident. You don't like it.
But to sit on camera and say I'm not a 10 takes a great deal of confidence for a woman because a lot of value is put on their looks. A lot of value is put on female looks, right? By men. So for a woman to sit there on camera and have the confidence to say I'm not a 10, the confidence is there.
I just think we can't win. Whatever we say, you're going to go the opposite way.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Not
at all. You could get a really pretty girl. Like I've seen loads of pretty girls that come on this podcast. I still wouldn't say they're 10s. And rather than them, if they said, oh, I think I'm a 7, I'd be like, this woman is confident enough to sit on camera, as beautiful as she is, and still say, yeah, I'm not a 10. And she hasn't fed into this delusion where everyone has to say I'm 10s. I'm telling you, as a guy, that is way more attractive than somebody just sitting there and lying on camera. But we know you're lying to yourself. And I would say that to a guy. If you genuinely sat there and looked at me and said, yeah, I'm a 10, looks-wise. So, bro, you're insecure about something for you to be saying something like that. Well, I don't know. Maybe we can go out on the streets one day and ask guys and see what they're saying. I
think we should.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. All right. No, we'll do that. We'll get some.
But we can't ask guys because all guys are going to be like you and just give that, one-sided opinion going to the opposite of whatever the women are saying.
What do you mean?
So I don't think it would be a legitimate survey.
What if I asked a guy, would you find her more attractive if she was honest with her
No, because
answer,
it's the way you're presenting the question. The way you're presenting the question is how you want them to think.
All right, do you want to present the question? You present it to them. I'll stay quiet. How would
Okay.
you present it?
Well, I think it should be a few different questions.
Okay.
One of the questions should be something along the lines of, do you find it unattractive when a woman isn't confident?
That's not a fair question, first of all, because that
And
could
your
be,
question was fair.
yeah, because we're talking
No.
specifically about looks. You said confident with regards to what? Yours is just a broad question.
Confidence about her looks then.
Do I find it unattractive?
Mhm.
Yeah, I guarantee you guys will repeat what I'm saying.
Okay, let's see.
I'm telling you personally from
Yeah.
my perspective, if I meet a girl that's very pretty, but she's not overly confident about her looks, and she exercises some level of rationality about how she looks, that's way more attractive than someone just prancing around like, oh, I'm the shit, I'm a 10. That is unattractive. Guys don't like that. Guys don't like women that do that. You see it on these
It's
podcasts all the
debatable, though,
time. They
'cause-
always rip into these girls.
Yeah, but it's debatable because it seems like those are the ones that all the men go for.
Those are the ones that they'll go to the club, and because those girls are putting themselves out there, like, this is what I have to offer my looks. I'm a 10, blah, blah, blah. They're going to take them home and sleep with them, but they're not the girls that are going home to mum. The girls that are going home to mum that are the ones that are level-headed, that can have a rational conversation, that can be honest, that don't indulge in the delusion. And I'm telling you, as a guy, especially, I'm not talking about 18-year-old guys or whatever. I'm talking about 30 plus, whatever, let's say. Those guys are not looking for delusion. It's hard to have conversation with delusion because they're delusional. You can't have a conversation with somebody that doesn't know up from down, left from right. Someone that can be honest with themselves and confident enough to stand in front of you and say, yeah, like, I do think I'm an attractive person, but you can have a conversation with that person. That's the person that's going to stick around, not these people that are lying. So we'll do that experiment. It has to be centralized around looks, though. It can't just be confidence on anything, because that could be anything.
It's just all solely based on looks.
All right, cool. That video is coming up, guys. Going to be presented to you exclusively by Sabi. I'll be in the background just watching what happens. I'll be behind the camera. You said you want to present the question.
Why is it exclusively to me? I will draft some questions and we will go do it together.
Yeah, I'll be behind the camera. I'll hold the camera. You ask the guys. I don't want to manipulate anything. I don't
Yeah.
want to push this
Okay,
in my
fair,
direction. I want
fair.
you to prove your point to me.